Hi, I'm Ryan Szymanski, curator for Battleship, New Jersey Museum and Memorial. And today, I have to climb up the mast to take a look at how everything up there is connected so we can make plans for taking it off, preparatory for going under the Walt Whitman Bridge to make it into Drydock. So, you guys are going to come up, we're going to see the various things that we have to cut off or unbolt, and we're going to start to formulate our plan on how we're going to do that. Because unfortunately, I don't have the documentation from the last time this was done over 20 years ago. I'm sure the museum has it, we just haven't been able to find it. So hopefully the archaeology up there will be able to tell us what it is we want to do. So let's head up. So now we're at the top of the platform, and the first thing you can see up here is the old oxyacetylene kit welded down. This is not a shipboard feature. This is from the last time the riggers cut the mast off and they just left it in place rather than getting rid of it. So this is one of the things that we can use as archaeological evidence that tells us how they did it before. Our documentation on how this process was done isn't that great. I am sure there is documentation. I'm sure the museum has it. Can I find it now 20 years later? No. So up here, you can see that the radar antenna, one, it's a different color from the base. This isn't our original. We didn't have one when we got the ship. The original was probably taken and put on some LHA or LHD, one of those ships that uses the same sort of SPS-49. And then we were able, pretty early on in the career of the museum, to get a non-functioning one. And you can see it's just bolted on with 20 of those bolts. The only difficulty is, since we wired this up to spin the other year, it now has power cables that are running from the base to the top. So these power cables come in, they're part of the radar, but this one, and there's two more on this side, we have to take out. We didn't know we were going into Drydock, but we had an idea that we might have to remove this one day. So these just go onto a terminal block in here, and it's relatively easy to unbolt them, pull these wires out, and it's, I can't remember if we labeled them with tags or if we color-coded them so we know which one goes in each place, so that when we bring the ship back, put this on, it's going to be real easy to wire up again. The next piece we need to remove was one that I hadn't realized ahead of time. We're going to have to take these dipoles off, and again, they're just bolted down, so come up here with the socket set, take them off. Fortunately, we only have to do the ones that are right here. We don't have to go out on the yardarms and do those. Thank God, because guess who's going to have to do this? While we're here, you can also see this little doubler piece of pipe that's been welded on. This is where this base of the tripod had been cut the last time the mast was removed. Let's talk about that. So over here you can see we've got a cut mark on the mast. You've already seen there's a cut mark on each of the two tripod legs. The ladder here is attached to the mast. It's just bolted on right there. So we unbolt this, ladder's free, we cut this. Notice all of the power for the various antennas and things up the mast have been cut. We reattached a cable here for power that goes up to the aviation warning light at the top of the mast so that the helicopters that land at the blue heliport over there don't crash into the ship, because they love to fly over us. Can they approach from over the river? No, they got to be right over us, buzzing every tour program we do. So it's relatively easy. Disconnect that, take this down. Depending on how early we take the mast off, we will likely put a new aviation warning light at whatever the highest point here is, which will likely be the base for the SPS-49 radar. Unfortunately, we know we've already got power going to the radar, so it's relatively simple to just take that and plug it into whatever we have as a warning light at that point. So behind us over here, you can see the Walt Whitman Bridge, which stands about 150 feet above mean tide, which is the whole reason why we've got to cut all this stuff down. The Navy Yard is on the other side of that bridge, and the, I believe it's 3 bridges up the Delaware River to get to that point, are all higher to allow for taller ships like us to get to the Navy Yard. Ships this size were never intended to come this extra 6 miles up the river, and so the Walt Whitman there and the Ben Franklin on this side are too low for us to get under without cutting this off. Fortunately, we don't have to go through all the trouble that Iowa had to go through to get under the Suisun Bay Bridge, which is even lower, which required them to cut this entire platform I'm standing on off of the ship and re-weld it. Have you decided where you're going to watch Battleship New Jersey's tow from? We're going to make recommendations on a couple of places along the river that are good to watch from, and of course, we're going to live stream the whole thing from several vantage points for those of you who can't come here to the Delaware River on your own. Battleship New Jersey receives operating support from the New Jersey Department of State, also from a number of other businesses and private individuals like yourselves. We really appreciate your support. It's going a long way towards raising the money we need to get this ship into dry dock early next year. You can support us by donating at the link below, or by liking, sharing, and subscribing so more people find about the ship and this amazing project we're about to embark on. Thanks for watching.